Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights, and thank you for joining us. And for those that haven't yet, if you'll click that subscribe button down in the bottom right corner, little triangle red thing, then you won't miss a single one of our episodes. Today we've got Zurraine A. Bennett. Good morning, Zurraine.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine as kind. Now, we have had you on the show before, and you're motivational speaker, trainer, author. You've been on TED Talk before. You and I met on Speaker Lab or through it. You've been a U.S. Marine. You've been a law enforcement officer. You've done tons of stuff. And that makes your books really potent and powerful because mostly you're known so far for your self-defense, positive self-defense.
Right.
And you've got all kinds of those. You've got positive self-defense for women, for men, for seniors, for realtors, motorcycle riders. What else? What other things have you? A bunch of them.
Yeah, positive self-defense, like you said, for men, women, seniors, entrepreneurs. There's actually one for that. But
Uh,
yeah, and now I'm delving into fiction, and I also have another book called I Can, I Will, because the devil is a liar. That
yes.
book actually seems to be doing okay. And I've got another book that'll be coming out, not part of the fictions, but it's actually titled The Art of Unbreakability. That's going to be coming out probably next year. It's being edited now. And also in the process, like I said, I wrote Tokoloshe, which is the book we're going to talk about. But I've also already written book two, which will actually release on the 31st of October. So book two in the series, because there's going to be a series of books. But I'm actually very happy about Tokoloshe because I'm already getting a lot of feedback from that. I'm literally getting people calling me, telling me that one lady literally wrote in her review that she was enthralled.
Wow, that's a big word.
Yeah.
Actually, your Tokoloshe and all your other books are available on DurhamPublishing.com's bookstore. And I happen to know that we've gotten clicks through that already, and you're not even on the show yet. So
Oh wow.
that's pretty awesome. Really, it is. So Tokoloshe, the Vengeance Code, give me some history behind this. What is it other than fiction?
Okay. It's a fiction that also has a lot of actual historical facts in it. And I did that by basically the lead character is a 16-year-old young man. And what happens is he's coming home from his martial art class and he gets into his neighborhood and something feels a little bit off. So when he gets to his front gate, he notices that the door is ajar and his screen door is off the hinges. So he walks up, goes to go inside the house, and he finds that his mother, his father, his sister, and his girlfriend have all been murdered.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the scene that he walks into. And then, so Tokoloshe is basically about the journey that he ends up taking and then the supernatural things that happen to him along the way. It's that journey. And what ends up happening during that journey is that towards the end, not the end, but towards the end of him living with his grandparents, he turns 18. Well, he decides he wants to go into the military. So he decides to go into the Marine Corps. And while he's in the Marine Corps, he becomes even more of a rabid type student, about knowledge, about tactics, about all of these different things, because he wants to correct all of the wrongs that have happened. He doesn't want what happened to him to happen to anybody else. So what ends up happening is he goes through that, and at one point, he ends up getting stationed in Africa. So when he gets stationed in Africa, he meets a gentleman by the name of Mr. Reno. And Mr. Reno is a pretty amazing individual, as in he has that aura, he has that energy, you know what I mean? And at one point, Mr. Reno explains to him that I need to explain to you that, you know, I'm an Anunnaki. You've heard of the Anunnaki, correct?
I have not.
The Anunnaki, if you look back in like ancient times, back in the pyramids and all of that stuff, they
Hmm.
talk about the Anunnaki are the ones that built the pyramids. The Anunnaki are the ones that brought the technology, how they already knew astronomy, how they were able to have maps that were actually accurate today, and there was no way, there weren't any satellites or anything like that. So the
Yeah.
Anunnaki are basically was considered the gods. So from that, what ends up happening is that Mr. Reno is one of the last of his kind. So he's sharing with Brent, ends up hooking him up with all of this technology and this knowledge, and he becomes what's considered the Tokoloshe. The Tokoloshe is actually an African myth. Back in the Zulu tribes, they used to have a creature that would be compared to the boogeyman for us. The Tokoloshe is actually not only a trickster, but also a an entity that brings justice. So what Xavier ends up doing through the help of Brent and Mr. Reno is he ends up becoming the human form of Tokoloshe. So high-tech suits, equipment, AI. From there, Xavier becomes this thing for goodness, this person for goodness, this creature for goodness, and he becomes the Tolatoshi. So he goes after villains. He goes after people that have been basically plaguing on the African diaspora and anybody that's done wrong, basically correct the wrongs.
That's the vengeance code part of the story then.
Yes, but it ends up being more than that.
That's very, very cool. A true superhero at that point. How did you come up with that? That's a long way from self-defense, although I can certainly see the trails between here and there.
The way that the book came about, to be honest, was a couple of months ago I had a dream. And I had a dream about this thing called the Tokoloshe. The weird part is I never heard of it before. I never seen anything by it. So I went online and I Googled it. I went online and was like, okay, what the heck? Why is this bugging me? So I looked it up. I spelled it wrong, of course, but I looked it up and I was like, oh, okay, this is a being that, children and adults in Africa were scared of because he was basically a vengeance demon, or a trickster that got after people that did other people wrong. And then I thought about it and I was like, this could be a book. And then I had another dream, and actually in the dream I had a man that became the Tokoloshe, and that's literally how the book came up. It was weird. It really was, because like I said, I never heard the word Tokoloshe. Never. Didn't
Wow.
know anything about it. But yeah, it's actually the Tokoloshe is actually a thing. And then when I started looking into it even more, I started finding other information about the Tokoloshe, like the Tokoloshe are shift changers. They
I was going
already
to
have all these.
say, it sounds a whole lot like Coyote of the North American tribes. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So was it, because it's written now, was it difficult to write fiction when you've been based in nonfiction so far?
No, actually, it was actually easy. The hardest part of writing this book was actually making sure that I had the history stuff that I added in there, because basically I have like his grandfather or him remembering stuff that his father told him before, that what happened.
Hmm.
And I entwine that in, and it actually, to me, adds meat to the overall story.
Sure.
And
Wow.
then what I also did was I used some of those stories to show the similarities and tactics that Xavier would use to actually, in modern day, to use that as a reference. What is that? If we don't recognize history, we repeat it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the only other thing was the technical stuff. And there's this crazy amount of science out there that I realized that the average human being just doesn't realize. Actually, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a book of fantasy, but there's a lot of stuff in the book that's actually real today,
Of
but
course.
most people don't know it.
That makes the best stories too, when it is close and recognizable, and you can go, wow, what if?
Yeah.
So, what's next? Now, you already
The-
talked about one that you're kind of in the process of in book two. So, you've got like two books coming up soon?
Actually, book two will be released on the 31st of October.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
book two will be
production.
released. Yeah, book two will be released on the 31st of October. Everything is done. It's already scheduled for release, all of that.
Send me the data on it, and we'll get it on our on DermanPublishing.com's bookstore also. Okay.
Roger that, will do. But
All
yeah,
righty. I
it's
just got a click that said we are running out of moments left here.
oh wow. It seems
So,
like we just started talking.
no kidding. And I also want to tell the audience out there, hey, all you out there, you can tell what energy he has, and he writes the same way. Okay. So check out Tokoloshe. Yes, it's in all the other places. Look at DermanPublishing.com's bookstore, and you can link right to it. And his other books. And he's got all the positive self-defense for virtually everything. Women, men, seniors, realtors, motorcycle riders, you know, all of that stuff. Oh, hey, Zurraine, it has been fun and informative. Keep those books coming and get them to me, okay?
Will do, sir. Again, I
Okay.
appreciate you. You guys have a great time. And for all of you guys listening, continue to listen because the guy's amazing.
So, Zurraine A. Bennett, so you can look him up as an author. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights, sponsored by DurhamandPublishing.com. And until next time, thanks for joining us.